the Money Cloud Show episode 3, and we have Rohan Barua, co-founder of ExMyB, with stands for Expand My Business, and which is a platform where businesses can find certified and qualified vendors for various services they require. So you're a B2B platform which connects small businesses and startups to find the services they require and which are certified, right? So let me ask you that what made you realize that there is a problem, and that a company like ExMyB can solve that problem? When did you got that idea of ExMyB?
Okay, so hi Abhiyansh. Firstly, nice to meet you, and I'm glad that you guys are doing some sort of awareness program, awareness show for a lot of the students out there, and a lot of people who are in the same similar position that I was maybe 2 years ago, and you will be in once your college is done. So to talk about XMyB and how it started off, both of us, both the founders, me and Nishant, are both from VIT. We have done our mechanical engineering from VIT. Nishant was 2017 and I was 2018 batch. So how it came to be is, so after graduating from college, I was in Adidas for a short while. Nishant was in PwC, and we have known each other for quite a while before as well. We've done some projects in VIT itself. We've done some events and things like that as well. So we already had a relation where we knew each other, and we were living in the same city. I'm from Delhi, and he's from Chandigarh. So he was living over here in Gurgaon, and when that is when we had decided to meet after college had got done, after my college was over, and we were both looking for sort of starting something of what we felt was the need of the hour. And this it was a self-faced problem. So Nishant actually had a home decor store where he was looking for someone who could help him out with just to sort of market his company's brand, help him build a website for a basic one. And that is where the problem actually started. We realized that we didn't really have a platform where you could find someone like that, right? Where you could find a certified, authentic vendor who could help you out and who would be perfect for your needs. So that is where the problem initially actually started. We realized that there was a gap somewhere there between the services part and the consumer part, right? So let me know, to put it in a dialogue, I'll ask you very simply. You may not have the most experience in this, but let's say tomorrow you were looking to order some sort of biryani or something, right? Where would you go?
I will find it on Swiggy or something, some app.
Swiggy, Zomato, right? You have to buy a product, you would go on an Amazon, Flipkart, right? So what these guys have done is they have made a very easy and standardized way of you to buy your products, your food, etc., so on and so forth. But when we come to services, that is where there was a gap, where there was nobody in the market who was doing this. You may think of the likes of Urban Clap, but that is more to do with the B2C, where they're talking about, haircut, spas, and things like that. We wanted to get more into the professional services, because at that point of time, we were looking for someone to do, our just some content and help us make the website and things like that as well. And we didn't find anyone, and the people that we did find, there were certain problems that we had, right, in terms of how we selected the vendor, what kind of work they did, how the communication was happening. Basically, there wasn't a standardized way of how we could say that yes, person X would be a correct fit for my company. So that is where it started, right? We in September 2018 is when we met, and in January 2019 is when we started with our proof of concept and building our product. And by November 2000, by October November 2019 of last year, that is when we went live. That is when our product was ready, our platform was ready, and we were having transactions. We had come up with an entire standardized way of how you can purchase services, and the best part is that curate those services and vendors actually exactly according to your requirements. So that is the idea behind XMyB in a very brief nutshell.
Yeah. So you said that you are a mechanical engineering student. So uh, how did you develop the platform, the software part of it? You got help someone, or you found out someone who can help you?
So I mean, you're in EC and Triple E, right? You guys are in Money Cloud. So you understand that in your first year you have to do the compulsory subjects, right? Like your IT and just ones that are not related to your stream. So apart from that, Nishant and I have some basic coding knowledge. I'm not going to say that we're coders or anything like that, but we do have some basic understanding and basic knowledge of how exactly the codes work, what kind of algorithms you need to fit, what is the reasoning behind the logic of what your code is, right? And that is how we started. We built our own algorithm, and we reached out. We had hired someone for this exact purpose, and we also have our tech advisors who help us out with what should be the architecture. How can you build a more robust platform? Because in the startup game, right? In when you're talking about businesses right now, your main priority, or I wouldn't say priority, but a very big focus is that you need to be able to scale up very quickly. And that is what a lot of people, that is where a lot of startups actually tend to find a little bit difficult, because when you're going from about 100 users to about 5,000 users to maybe a lakh users, right? That is where the difference comes, and that is where a lot of platforms and a lot of websites tend to they tend to sort of lag out or just have some problems. So we've been fortunate to meet some fantastic people in our journey of about 1.5 years, 2 years now. And we've met some fantastic people who have helped us, who have nurtured us, who have given us great tips, great advice. So to answer your question, it was us who built the basic sort of logic behind how exactly we wanted it. And we hired someone along with our advisors and our mentors who had helped us to see to build what you see in front of you right now.
Right, right. So you made it through basic coding knowledge, right?
Yeah, I
Yes.
just we had done the album. We made it on Django.
Hmm.
So I'm not going to get too much into the tech part of it, because again, like I told you, we're not hardcore coders.
Yeah.
But yes, we do have the basic knowledge of what kind of code it is required, and the kind of logic required to build it.
And you said that scaling up is one of the most important part for young starting businesses, right? They need to scale up. So, what strategy did you use to scale up your business, XMyB?
Oh, see, it's you have to scale up, yeah, eventually. Abhiyansh, matlab,
Hmm.
my point of saying that was ki, let's say, for example, you're doing something in VIT, right? There are a lot of students who have started, because there are a lot of clubs and chapters. So what they did is they started outsourcing, your shirts, posters, all these kind of things. Because
Hmm.
college students बहुत खरीदते हैं ऐसे. So you realize that after a certain point, you have been able to capture a certain area of what you wanted it to capture, but that's never the end, right? Your aim would always be to increase your profits. It would be to make sure that yes, I have more demand on me. And that is how a traditional business would work, right? Let's move away from the word startup. Let's just call it business, right? That is how a traditional business would work. That if I'm buying something for 1 rupee, essentially I need to be getting 2 rupees for it, because what I'm putting in, I have to get more than what I'm putting in, right? So how we scaled up was, first we realized what the problem was, right? When we were conducting our POC for, it was the better half of about 8 months. We were doing market research, we were building the product, and the best part that we did actually was we went to the ground and we spoke to our target audience, right? We went collaborated with many different chambers, with different co-working spaces. We had events that we had gone to, many networking events as well, where we spoke to our clients, the potential people who would be our clients in the coming days. And what you see right now is a culmination of what our own clients have told us, right? It's a belief that we have a certain understanding of how we wanted to portray the services out there, but the best part is that our clients themselves have validated this, by saying that yes, this is what we are looking for when we're looking for services. So to scale up, there's no real answer for that. In how we scaled up is just it's a natural progression of time, right? Like the example that I was giving you, you start off with a small area, and eventually the goal is to keep on increasing, right? And that is when we said, okay, let's move on from maybe this area in Gurgaon to maybe Delhi Gurgaon now, right? And then expanded to maybe 2 3 more cities, right, where we said, okay, we can expand our outreach there as well. And that slowly matlab, it's along with time that it happens. But yes, you would always have to keep this at the back of your head. Key scaling up is very important. So for us, it was a natural thing of time, and also because we are in the middle of getting, we've gotten funded in 2018. It was a small initial amount, and now we're in the middle of our next round as well. In fact, the call that I was telling you about just for what is that was with a VC as well. So when you are presenting it for external funding, right? A very important thing for people to remember, entrepreneurs to remember, is that you would put money in a company when you see a very high growth opportunity with them, or you see it's a very good scalable business model, right? The investor's mindset is very simple. I don't mean to sound crass or anything, but अगर वो 100 रुपए डालेंगे तो they expect 500 rupees in return, right? So they'll only put the 100 if they believe that they can get that money, right? And although investments are a very risky thing, like they also the same mindset goes that when they put money in a company, they also assume that, okay, let's not think about it because 3 years later, let's see what the kind of return is, or X amount of time, let's see what the return is. But yes, they would only put it in a company when they see that kind of multiple return coming back to them. So it's very important for us to scale up because, we were in talks with different investors and different VCs as well. And until you really see the market size and the market potential, you're just going to be stuck in one place. And, that's just not something that, me and Nishant believe in. We see this as a very big problem. We see this as a solution that is going to be affecting everyone. And, we want to be the Alibaba of services. Yeah, that's what we are. And that's why we want to scale up. So it's just along with time that we have scaled up and managed to get where we are today.
Yeah, so those are really nice goals. And so when you were starting out and when you were going out in networking events and all, uh,
Right.
what was your team size? How many people were you?
We started off with two.
Two people. So you two were
Uh,
doing all the things, going out in different events, talking to
yeah,
people.
yeah, yeah. It was the two of us because it was our product, it was our idea. So it was just the two of us. For the longest time, it was just the two of us. And when we were building our product, that is actually when we started hiring people. That is when we started having our first hires. But that was, that was about 4 months, 3 to 4 months in after we had started.
Okay. So,
Yeah,
and
and that it was for, like, it wasn't for the core things. It was just like, for example, like you had asked who had helped you build the platform and all, right? So the hires were more to do with the product, groundwork, operations, sales was being done just by us two at that point of time.
right, right. And when you were going out and talking to people, and how did you convince the vendors to come on your platform and list themselves so that they can get their sales up and they can provide services to others? What did you tell to your
Okay,
vendors? Yeah.
Abhiyan, our philosophy, it's a lot to do with transparency, right? I believe that if you are honest, and since day one, I believe that what you sort of put out there is what gets reciprocated as well, right? And obviously, you learn along the way. You make mistakes. You learn what to do and how to do it along the way. But what we told them was that, the current situation in the market was that there are so many of these agencies who are out there but are not able to get maybe the correct kind of clients or not enough work, and there are multiple reasons for that, right? Maybe I can get into in a bit detail later on. But yes, the main problem was that it wasn't fair for a lot of vendors who were already, who were out there looking, because there was no such medium where they could find clients. And, even when they did, there's a lot of, what's the word? There's a lot of mistrust that is there in the cycle, right? And that is what we wanted to eradicate, and that is why we came up with ExMyB. So our point of telling the vendors was very simple, right? We told them that, hey, listen, we have a platform where I'm able to give you, um, uh, you know not leads, but I'm able to give you clients because we have our own quality check when it comes to the clients who come onto our platform, right? So, we have clients that we give, right? And we don't work on a transactionary model. We work on a very simple subscription model because we want to make sure that even the seller is happy. And, the moment that there's something related with commission that is involved, a lot of sellers tend to sort of, the mistrust that is there in the market. They tend to sort of, hide those figures or, say another number or, many problems as such. So that was what we had told our vendors, right? Register yourself for free on a platform that is able to give you clients, not leads, and take a feel of the platform first, right? We want it to be that when a vendor is coming on ExMyB, there should be a moment of pride. There should be a stamp of quality on them, and only once that is all established, that is when it gets better. That is when they trust us more. They start communicating with us more. They tell us a little bit more about what we can do to improve. And it's just a good ecosystem that we're building. And essentially, we want to change the way that businesses are being done because it's a new wave. It's people such as you, people such as me, who are coming on into the world, into the business world right now. New generation entrepreneurs, new generations of family businesses who are coming. The younger generations are now coming up, and they are the way that they perceive certain things are a lot more different than the way people are perceiving it right now. They're a lot more. The buyer now is a lot smarter. He believes a lot more in quality. He believes a lot more in transparency. So that is how we looked at it, and that is what we told our vendors to when they came onto the platform. And we were fortunate that the first 100 vendors that we had on the platform were some excellent people, and they believed in our vision. And they themselves used to come back to us and tell them, Rohan, thank you so much. This is it's a great problem that you guys are solving. We're actually outsourcing their sales for them, right? Which is a very big channel for them because otherwise you usually hire someone for that. So it wasn't very difficult to get the vendors because these are the things that we would tell them, and that is what struck a chord with them, and that is why they came on to the platform.
There are a lot of freelancing platforms also, right? Like Fiverr and Upwork and all that. They also provide services. So how do you
Yeah.
compete with them?
So they are great companies. Credit where credit's due. But there are a few problems in those models. The biggest one being that the way that clients are distributed to the freelancers, that is something that we believe wasn't something that would fit in India, because in India, I would say that it's probably one of the most price sensitive markets, right? And the way that these platforms such as Fiverr, Freelancer, the way that they would sort of take that approach was not a very Indian approach to it, which is why it hasn't become as big as it has become in the States and all, the gig economy like we call it. And most importantly, actually, the Indian mindset, right? The Indian consumer, the people that we were speaking to who are our clients, right? Your SME directors, founders, experienced entrepreneurs as well. A lot of people have actually faced problems when it comes to working with freelancers and solo individual professionals. The reasons being that all of, I'm not saying that there are different levels of the different levels of freelancers that are there, but there was no real scope of accountability, right? There was no real scope of you know for example, if I'm a founder of a certain of a company in an industry, what is best for me is not going to be what's in the mind of that freelancer, right? Because freelancer only has that certain set of skills, whereas an agency has a group of skills, right? So an agency's point of view when acquiring a client is that the client will choose me because they have the best connection with me, because we talk, we openly discuss, and we can see what is the best solution for them. Whereas when it comes to individuals, they are very highly skilled in what they do, no doubt about that, but it's a certain vertical. It's not a very large approach. It's not a very large solution oriented. It's just what they are good at. And the biggest thing about freelancers and it not working with the kind of people that who are our clients was that accountability was not there. Where there could be a time when I need my work done and the person is just not accountable because he's not picking up his phone, he or she is not picking up the phone. The kind of quality of work that is being done may not be up to my standard, and there's nothing you can do about it because it's a single person that you're talking to, right? So there were quite a few problems. Like, I've only mentioned three problems right now, but there were quite a few problems that we had discovered there was a gap in, and that is why we only choose to work with agencies and businesses, and not singles, individuals, and freelancers.
Okay, so if a customer comes to your platform and hires a vendor, so
Mhm.
that vendor will satisfy the need of the customer until he gets what he wants, right? If he even if he has to do it over and over, like if he wants a website to be designed and it's not up to his mark and he wants it to be changed, so your vendor will do that as many times as as the customer wants.
Okay, so Abhiyansh, for this question, I'll just your approach to how actually services are being taken, it's a bit different. It's that this is not exactly how it's done. A typical approach would be that yes, let's say you're looking for a website, right? It's not कि मैंने वेंडर के साथ बात किया और वेंडर ने बोला ये करूंगा, एंड देन एक महीने बाद मैंने जो काम दिखाया उनको, उन्होंने बोला कि नहीं नहीं यार ये तो कुछ अच्छा नहीं है, प्लीज मेक अ न्यू वन फॉर मी. It doesn't work like that. It works like I'm looking for a website. What are my requirements? I need a billing platform on my website. I need it to have high UI UX. I want to have it mostly text, not photo. So there's a scope of work that is defined, right? A scope of work that is defined by both the client and the seller before they get into the financial agreement of it and they start working together. So only once that is clear, that is when it goes forward with it, and that is how it happens. It doesn't happen. I work something and I want it completely scratched. So the vendor has to do it all over again for me, because you have to understand it's time sensitive for both the buyer and the seller, right? Because it's the vendor who's using their resources. So it's pre-decided. These kind of things are pre-decided, and the few times when you do get a problem like that, yes, sometimes we do have to step in. But it's just a matter of aligning the understandings, and again moving on from there.
Right. And what is the most like trending service that is like most selling service on your platform right now?
It would be a combination of two. One is your website slash mobile application development. This is a very, very popular service on ours. And the second one I would say would be marketing services. So, someone is looking for social media marketing, or basically digital marketing. Let's just put it in that. These two are the most popular ones.
Okay, and let's say that a customer comes to your platform, he wants an application to be developed, but
Yeah.
he is scared that his idea of the application it might be copied or it might be stolen. So is there any precautions for that? Are there any precautions for that happening, that the vendor will not copy the idea or something like that?
So yeah, before you get into these kind of agreements, there are documents such as an NCNDA that is signed before, right? That usually that and not just an NCNDA, but there's a contract in place that also says that, for example, I'll give you a real life example actually. So one of our clients, she's a founder of a jewelry company, right? It's called a non-compete, right? So in jewelry, because there are such unique designs, unique materials in place, uh, jewelry companies, when they work with vendors, they have a non-compete in place, which basically means that if you have worked with a jewelry company before, you're not allowed to work with them again, another one, because there's a transition of ideas, right? So yes, if you are particular about that, now I mean, Abhiyansh, you've come into this startup ecosystem, and you understand that there are very few ideas that are new and original and unique, right? A lot
Yeah.
of ideas that are coming out into the market right now it's a twist of what is already being done,
Hmm.
right? मतलब थोड़ा उन्होंने spin डाला है थोड़ा इसलिए, which is why they feel like there is a better value proposition than what is existing in the market, right? So usually it's just an NCNDA like that is signed, keep, don't release my idea to any other clients as such, but no such non-compete, because the vendor would have already worked for someone in that industry in the past, and because they have worked with that industry in the past, it gives me a very good scope for when my next client comes in the same industry, I'm already one step ahead than a lot of other people who have not worked in the industry, right? So even the way that we onboard our vendors, we do a quality check of everything that they have done in the past. We speak to their clients. It's a very thorough onboarding process that we do, and when we understand the client's requirements, we are only giving them a limited list of about 3 to 4 people, right? And these 3 to 4 people are people who would be perfect for them for many reasons, not just the fact that they have worked in the industry before, but multiple reasons, right? What our understanding of the buyer is, that is where our machine learning comes in. That is what we are building. We want our machine is smart enough to understand what the client requirements are here and match them on what our vendor requirements are on a series of factors, not just one or two, but a series of factors. So that is how it happens. There's it's to I would say, to protect it, you would get an NCNDA signed forward, and the kind of vendors that we have on our platform as well, right? We call them ExMyB vendors for a reason. It's because they are already surpassed a certain quality, and we also tell them from our side what kind of expectations to have from clients, and what is the kind of correct manner to speak to them in, etc., and so on. So that doesn't happen that often, the problem that you're mentioning, although it's a problem that many, many, many people have, and I think the more you get into the industry, the more you realize that if you continuously have this thought at the back of your head, कि अगर मैंने किसी को बताया they'll steal my idea or something, it'll be harder for you to move on, right? You have your vision, you have your strategy in place, of plan of action of how you want to take it forward, right? Get on it.
Yeah,
Be quick
so
on it.
that cannot be
You're the
stolen, right? That vision and
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you something a bit odd, right? It was I think in November or December, I got a call from one of my own vendors telling, asking me a series of questions. I was speaking for 10-15 minutes, और मैंने फिर end में पूछा, यार इतने आप सवाल क्यों पूछ रहे हो, मतलब what exactly his answer was very simple. Yeah, he's saying कि I had a client requirement, and they were wanting something like your website, so that is why I'm talking to you. So it happens, Abhiyansh. It happens to a lot of businesses. It happens to a lot of ideas. You have to know that you are the best person for it, because that is why you're starting a company, right? That is why you have your vision. So there's nobody who can take your idea from you. There's nobody who can do that, because your approach to it and your strategy behind how you do it is yours uniquely, and it's only in your head. So if you worried about that, if you get stuck on it for too long, it's very difficult to move forward. And it's, I'll be honest with you, Abhiyansh, it's a problem that is there with a lot of entrepreneurs
Yeah.
who are starting. Lots, including myself. I'm not going to lie. It was a problem that we also had when we were thinking, yeah, can't be going around saying it too much. But that is what we realized. We can't use that, because it's just going to stunt our growth. We need to go fast. We need to go rapid, and that is the solution behind it.
So you should not be overprotective about your idea, right? You should go out and talk to people, and you should tell them about your idea, your vision, and the more people you talk to, the more help you can get further. So
So, just I think a little asterisk over here.
yeah.
What I'll put is, yes, I would do that, but find people who you trust. Find people who you trust. Find people who you feel would be good mentors to you, right? Obviously, the first people that usually people speak to is their parents themselves, right? Their father, their mother, brothers, mama, mommy, anyone who they feel would be adding a good point of view to them, right? We have a few businessmen in our family. Nishant has a few businessmen that he knows in his family. We don't come from business families, right? But we know people in our family who are into businesses. So you first speak to them, right, about just general business. Along the journey, you meet some. We were, like I told you in the start of this call, we were fortunate to meet some fantastic people, some great people who have supported us, who liked our idea, liked us as people, which was very important, and have believed in us, continuously shown belief and faith in us. And it's very limited people. It's very limited people who we had initially spoken to. I would say about maybe 10 to 20 people, That's how many people that we had spoken to within the first 2 3 months. And once the product was ready, obviously then you have to go and say it as much as you can because you're looking to get the word out. But yes, definitely speak about it. You should look at people's opinion and their viewpoints, because you have to understand that when you are looking at your business, there's a very big bias in place. Yeah, you've been thinking about something for the last 6 months, 7 months. You can't think of anything else about it. But the moment you speak to someone, यार वो 1 मिनट में सुन के वो बोल देंगे कि यार ये कैसे करोगे फिर, राइट?
Yeah.
एंड दैट इज व्हेन यू थिंक यार ये तो मैंने सोचा ही नहीं था, ठीक है? एंड अगर आपने सोचा भी था, मे बी योर सोल्यूशन इज नॉट गुड इनफ बिकॉज दे विल probably come up with another shortcoming with what your answer is,
Yeah.
right? It's very important to speak to people who you trust, people who can guide and mentor you. I wouldn't say talk to any Tom, Dick and Harry. किसी आप classmates से ऐसे मत बात करो, because their opinion would not be of much value to you in the start, right? After you go and tell them, that's not a problem. But in the start, my recommendation is always talk to people who you would trust and who you know would only have the best intentions for you.
Right.
That's very, and I think the one advice that I can give to people who are coming, right, from colleges, people who are starting on this journey is, there are a lot of ups and downs in the way, and you meet a lot of people, positive, negative. It's a journey, right? It's just a journey. And the best part about this journey is that you yourself learn how to gauge people who are good for you, people who have your back, people who know you, who you can trust. So it's part of the process. ऐसे there's no defined book that says कि इस type के बंदे के साथ आपको बात करना है, इस type का quality आपको देखना चाहिए and all that kind of stuff. But yes, it's a journey. You come across highs, you come across lows. But the people who stick by you in the start stick by you till the end, and it's very important for one to realize that and speak to them and get their advice in going forward.
Right. And when you're planning all this, starting a business, talking to your friends who you trust, and building the idea, when do you realize and when do you know that this is the right time to launch the company?
Okay, good question. So when you're starting a business, you have to ask yourself a few questions. Okay. I can't write tomorrow if I say that, okay, I don't feel that right now the way I buy my products is very efficient. So let me start my e-commerce platform where I'm selling everything from products, right? You have to look at your competitors in the market, which is very important. You have to look at your market scope, right? You have to understand that how many people are there in my market, right? Let's say if I start an e-commerce platform, the kind of competition in big names, your Amazon, Flipkart, Shopto, Snapdeal, there's so many that are there. So many of our own clients actually who have e-commerce platforms, but again, they have e-commerce maybe different. Someone does e-commerce for artisan products, someone does e-commerce for luxury products, someone does e-commerce for XYZ. There's so many things like that, right? That is why you start. So when you start your business, when you start thinking about the idea, the reason for why a lot of successful companies, the reason for success in a lot of companies is that the problem is self-faced by a lot of the people, and they themselves realize that this problem does exist, right? And I've tried I've worked everywhere to see that is there a solution that exists. If you don't find one, why haven't you found one, right? You look at your market space, your competitors and things like that, right? Whether there actually is a space for me to do business and earn profit, right? Secondly, you would look at the kind of audience that you have, right? It's your audience can't just be because you're a certain type of person. That means there are lakhs of people like you who will help you in your business. It's not necessarily true, right? So your solution has to be also based on who exactly it is that you're looking to target to, right? So when you look at these 2 3 things about which industry you're coming into, how you want to implement it, what are the business models that you want to implement, how you want to earn money, when you think about all these things, right, that is when you have your idea, and that is when you should be the one to take the call that yes, now is the right time. Maybe it's not the right time for this anymore. It was maybe 5 years ago. Maybe right now it's also possible that your idea is too futuristic. I've come across many of my clients whose idea I felt are fantastic, are amazing ideas, but maybe India is not ready for those ideas at the moment, whereas maybe a Western country would be. And there are some people who are just very late into it, so we ourselves tell them that, is this really like the best thing that, why don't you yourself bring about a change in how you are showing a model. So yeah, it's important to, talk to people, to read on different areas and understand what you think would be the best way to go forward. Yeah, at the end of the day, to start a business, it is risky, right? You need to have strength to mental to go past mental hurdles, and it takes time, yeah, Abhinash. It's what you see right now is a cumulative effort of 1.5 years, right? And let me tell you this thing, there's an ugly side to it as well. We've obviously taken the most of what we do. We're always positive people, but there are a lot of times, more often than not, that where you just sort of, you don't necessarily, you lose a bit of faith. You come across hurdles and obstacles that you didn't expect. You have a down day. It's important to stick through it. It's important to stick through it, no matter what your idea is. And as you go with time, you realize that, yes, shit, this is the kind of clients that I'm getting. This is the kind of work that I'm getting. So you figure this out. It's a journey for every entrepreneur. But my one advice would be that, stick to it, right? Be smart about it. Work smart, work hard, and work smart. Stick through it, and you will see some sort of results. That's for sure. If not in your business at that point of time, you will see some results, because you would have learned a lot from what you have done. So that is what I would say. That is how you would judge what is the best time for you to start your business and go forward.
Yeah. And you also worked at a few places before starting out business. So would you recommend to people that first work at some place, get some experience, or if you have a great idea, just go out there and start working on that idea?
This is so I was having this discussion very recently only, and I may get a little bit of stick for it, but I personally believe that I think one should have experience before they start something of their own. And the reason for me telling you this is because um, the time that you would take to accomplish one task, if you have experience in that industry before, it saves you on a lot of time, and it saves you on a lot of mental effort as well,
Yeah.
right? Uh, Nishant has worked in PwC before, right? I was in IDAS for a short while, but there were a lot of things that I didn't know. There are a lot of things that Nishant didn't know, which is why we had our advisors, which is why we have a group of advisors and our mentors. So we always had someone to back us up, and when we had to ask them questions. But personally, I was very fortunate that the kind of problems that I faced. If not, I didn't know about it, and then Nishant knew about it. If not him, then one of my mentors knew about it. Or let's say if Nishant didn't know something, either I knew about it or one of our mentors knew about it. We were very fortunate in that area, where now we've reached a certain point where we're like, nothing is really like a, it's you learn whatever you do, you go forward. But yes, I think that getting a bit of experience before starting your business is a little important, just because you gain a better skill set, right? And it's this is just my personal belief. There may be people who don't necessarily agree with me, but my personal belief is that, yes, maybe if you get some experience before, it will just help you when you start your own thing.
Right. And
Yeah.
when you were going to leave your job and when you were going to start your business, what did you say to your family, and what was their reaction, and how did you convince them that this is the right thing, and you know what you are doing?
uh, that's a question that I think holds very strongly to Indian families as well, right? Uh, I'm blessed to have the kind of family and the kind of parents that I have. Nishant is blessed to have the kind of supportive, parents and family that we do have. Uh, I had got another job offer before I started this, and my that is I still remember this very clearly. I was having a conversation with my father. My mother though was supportive, right? She was always saying, if this is something you believe in, if it's something that is there, you should do about it. And like I told you before, I don't come from a business family, right? And My dad has been doing a corporate job his entire life. So the way that they view certain things and the way that a businessman views certain things, right, is very different. And what I told my dad told me to take that job. I'll be honest with you, my dad did tell me to take that job. And that is when I told him, ki, yaar, I'm I don't know if this is something that I want to do. I mean, I feel like I'm going to get burned out after a very quick time. I feel like within 3 months के बाद 6 महीने के बाद I'll get bored, or I don't feel like this is the right option for me. And that is when you start losing interest, that starts affecting your work indirectly as well, right? So I'm not the kind of person who would say that I'm going to give you 80% of me. If I'm giving you something, it's going to be 110%. So yes, that initial call with my dad, it wasn't like any screaming, shouting, anything like that. I just simply told him this, dad, listen, uh, this is why I don't want to do the job. I don't know whether ExMyB will take off. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know anything about it. But yes, I believe in it. I believe that there is a very large space out there that is not being utilized, right? It's a very large problem that persists and has continuously persisted for a long time, and there's no solution to it yet. And that is what we are looking to build. We're looking to build this for the long run. And yes, it does not come easy. It does not come quick, right?
Mm.
Time is the one thing. Time is one that is not your friend, because it takes time. It
Yeah.
takes time. And I'll tell you the moment so that time, chalo, jo ho gaya, so ho gaya. I got the support from my parents to do it, and give it, because again, we're young. We have that energy, we have that time, we can afford to give it. So I had the support from my parents to do that. 6 months later, beyond 6 months later, 6 to 8 months later, because the learning curve when you're doing something like this is so steep, right? It's so fast. When I was speaking to my dad 6 months after, 8 months after, about how work was going, what things are happening, my dad himself told me, he's like, यार तू सही कर रहा है, पता नहीं क्या कर रहा है, but सही कर रहा है तू, just keep at it, continue doing it. uh, you know and I could see it in his face, that it's not something that words can describe. But I still remember that day very, very, very distinctively, where it was me and my father. We were sitting, and we were having a cup of coffee, and that's when we were having a long conversation. And by the end of the conversation, my father himself was just like, you could tell, yeah, fathers don't speak too much.
Yeah.
So you could tell that. He was trying to get those words out, and he said, just keep at it, continue doing what you're doing. It's I can see the change in 6 months. And now 1.5 years later, yeah, matlab, I have regular conversations with my dad, with my mom, with about everything about work, and what kind of problems. And the answer is never कि यार और कुछ करना था. What their answer is more supportive than I sometimes support myself. They themselves say कि नहीं नहीं यार, what are you doing, stick at it, do ये ऐसे try करो, वो ऐसे try करो, ये ऐसे इस तरीके के जाओ आप. So nowadays I get like advice from my own dad, and my mom continuously gives me emotional support. My brother, who is there, he continuously keeps telling me, do this. And I've been very blessed and very fortunate to be in the situation that I'm in right now, with everyone that I have met and the kind of people that are there in my life.
That is great. That is really great. Uh,
Yeah.
and let's talk about the business sector. So, what do you think is the great opportunities out there in which the young entrepreneurs can tap out, the fields which they can provide solutions and create great companies?
Right. So because of COVID, there's been a lot of push on digital businesses, which is why XMyB was, we've sort of seen a great increase in everything in the last 4 months. Because if anything, right, there's a much stronger belief in XMyB right now from, everyone that we speak to, because every business is going to have to come online now. It's not a choice. It's not something that, they can say, ki nahi aana aaj, but they have to come, because we realize what kind of power online becoming online has, and how everyone is moving to the digital space. Uh, Before COVID, my answer for this was very different. It was I was seeing a very large increase in the number of fintech companies, a large increase in the number of education companies as well. So there was a very high increase in these two industries. Uh, right now, if you look at it, there's a lot of players already into the market. So I wouldn't say that these two industries would be ideal for you to go at. What are the top emerging industries? Yeah, they would. In my opinion, they would be mostly to do with something to do with digital, like digital businesses. Right now, whether that is, whether that is how you are taking payments on your platform, whether it is how you are verifying how people are coming onto your platform. Whether it is. It could be anything, but I think that there's a lot of focus on the digital space on it. I think in terms of industry, yes, it would be mostly about digital businesses. I think that would be. I know that's a very broad answer,
Hmm.
but the reason for me telling it in this manner is because I don't want to put anyone down from what their dreams and what their vision are. Right? Tomorrow there could be someone who's doing a better job than Flipkart. Right? Tomorrow there could be someone who's doing a better job than Myntra, than Zomato, than Swiggy. It's completely possible. There's no
Yeah.
denying that. Yes, it may take time because they are backed by large capital investors. But it's possible, yeah. If you had a problem in a way that you have dealt it, right, and you know that there's nothing else, and you feel like there's a very big value proposition there for the way that you are solving it, you should go for it. You should go all out. And like I was telling you earlier, look at the market, look at the scope, look at the potential out there, look at the kind of clients that are there in the market, and that's how you know that you have a good product and a business in hand.
Right, right. So you have to look at the market in as a whole, where the opportunity lies and what people will be wanting to do more in that sector. You can build your business, right? And yeah, AR and VR will be one of the growing industries a lot at a great scale, because
Absolutely.
yeah, there are a lot of companies that are also coming up with, like you said, that in augmented reality you can see the car in front of you. There are also companies which lets you show furniture in your house in augmented reality, so
Right.
they can
Right.
see where it fits the best. So yeah,
Uh-huh.
and about your XMyB, what do you think will be the future plans, and how do you plan to expand it to the level which you were telling earlier?
So we expand in the certain category service lines that we've got a year-on-year plan of how we see ourselves growing in the next 5 years. So to increase, to reach where we are going to reach, we are going to be increasing service categories, the kind of services that we are putting on the platform. That is one. Secondly, is obviously increasing the kind of transactions that are happening on the platform, right, and expanding to basically all over India, getting more penetrating deeper into smaller cities. Giving solutions for a larger part of India, making sure that there are a lot of vendors who are not being noticed right now in tier two, tier three cities. So an opportunity for them to come over the platform, right? We have vendors from Andaman and Nicobar Islands also, yeah. So it's we have vendors from outside India as well. We have clients from outside India as well who come, but obviously we are focusing on India right now. Our main focus right now obviously is completely India. We started off with Delhi NCR because that is where we live. It was part of our onboarding process. Then after that we went on to some bigger cities. Now we're moving on to the smaller cities and expanding service categories as well. So this is how our expansion plans look like.
Yeah, that is a great plan. One more question. You said that you will be expanding services. So, what are the services that you see who want, which are in demand, which are not yet in your platform, like which will you will be adding?
So one, where we'll be adding like, our vendors are themselves have actually, a lot of people themselves come to us when they come to our platform and they understand that it's a B2B service marketplace, right? They themselves come to us and they tell us, yeah, this is what my business is, this is what I do. Can you help me find clients, right? And a lot of our own vendors actually come back to us and told us that, yeah, I'm looking for like an HR agency who can help me with my payroll, with my hiring and my taxes, and different, like, as in how the scheme of how it works. So like that, we were able to expand to our next category itself, which comes to HR services and solutions. Apart from that, there's I'm not going to be at this thing. I'll full disclaimer. I'm not gonna mention all the categories right now because we do have some plans of how we want to get them on later on. But yeah, they would involve things like HR services. They would involve how exactly we're planning on bringing legal and financial services all over the platform, business services over the platform, procurement services over the platform, which is what COVID has actually given us a boost in. So yeah, just to mention some of the ones that we're going to be expanding on, these are some of them.
Right. Um, so yeah, I think I have covered almost what people need to know out there. So thanks a lot for doing this. It was great talking to you, and uh, we wish you best of luck for your future plans of XMyB. And if you got any value from this episode, please like the video and subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more episodes. Thanks a lot, Rohan.
Anytime, Abhiyansh. Take care. It was
Thank you.
a lovely, lovely talk that I had, and I look forward. I hope this information helps, and I think any advice that I can give to anyone who's coming, especially from my college, that stick to it. Right? There's nothing called a bad idea. It's just that how an idea is implemented. That's very important. How an idea is implemented. Find good, trusted people who you can work with. That is very, very, very important. The people that are there with you. I think more than anything, I think that is the most important thing, right?
Yeah.
Then obviously have continuous belief in yourself. Don't ever, you'll have many more bad days than you'll have good days. But that's part of the journey. What people call overnight success is actually never an overnight success. It's years,
Yeah.
years, and years. What we see is just the final day of it. So keep at it, yeah, keep at it, and would always love to help out any young people, any young entrepreneurs such as myself. And I hope my what I said today was able to resonate with a lot of people who are watching it.
Yeah. Yeah. We hope that too. Thanks a lot, Rohan.
Anytime, Abhiyansh. Take care.